Hello and welcome back to the Frost Seymour Experience. I am Paul Seymour.
And I'm Nick Frost.
How's it going, Nick? How's things, man?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, very well, thanks, mate. A bit exciting of the week of football again, so we'll get cracking straight on to the results if you'd like to take us away.
I will indeed. So, round 6 results, and we've just finished. Burnley 0, Tottenham 1. I just caught that, actually. It was a drab affair. Burnley parked the bus from minute 1.
Yeah.
Deserved win for Tottenham.
Yeah.
Brighton 1, West Brom 1. I think a few of us called that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, this was an interesting result. Arsenal 0, Leicester 1. Arsenal have been in good form recently, and Leicester probably been a bit out of form.
Yeah.
Did you catch the game?
I caught a little bit of it, yeah. I kind of watched the last half of it, to be fair. It's now on this new pay-per-view. So obviously, yeah, I caught up the highlights, the last bit of the highlights. Again, Vardy was he come on, didn't he, as sub, and I thought he played really well and straight into the game. Great cross to lead him in. It was so open though for him to score. Like it was something you do on FIFA, wasn't it? So, but yeah, he just keeps rolling on, doesn't he? I think he loves Arsenal, Vardy. So no brainer for him there.
Yeah. And then we've got Wolves 1, Newcastle 1, another score draw. I think a few called that result as well.
Yeah.
And then Southampton 2, Everton 0. I don't think anyone has called that result. Big shock.
Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, just to add to that, I mean, 2-0, it kind of flattered Southampton a little bit, actually, because after I'd watched that game, it looked like Southampton really pressured Everton like they've not been pressured before, not even by Liverpool last week. And obviously the big talking point, as per, is the red card for Lucas Digne. I mean, the tackle went in. I mean, after what happened last week, obviously you'd think I'd be all like, rah, 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 they deserved it. But yes, he went in, and I think it was dangerous. Whether he intended it or not, I don't think he did. But again, it was a bad tackle. I mean, that could have easily snapped that other guy's. Is it Ward-Prowse? I think was it him. I think he could have easily snapped his ankle. So it's a red card, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and Calvert-Lewin didn't even have a shot in the game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll talk about a halt. That was crazy, wasn't it, out of all people to not score? But he'll come good again probably in the next couple of games, so I'm sure he'll be all right. But yeah, it was surprising. Southampton, again, not exactly been firing all cylinders, have they, recently? But they're pulling off a few shot results. I mean, the game against Chelsea for one.
In form.
Yeah.
And then back to form. Your boys Liverpool. Home win over Sheffield United. I think a pretty predictable result, really.
Yeah. I believe so, mate. Yeah, just quickly, I thought we played well. But again, Sheffield United held their own quite a while as well. I mean, Gomez got man of the match in there, which I think kind of says it all, really. He had to step up, didn't he, without Virgil being there. So we'll see what the coming weeks have to bring. We've got Man City November 8th. That's the biggest game I can think of going forward. So.
And then we had Man U 0, Chelsea 0. What should have been the game of the weekend in many people's eyes was a damp squib.
Yeah, that was mad, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then Palace 2, Fulham 1. Another loss for Fulham. They're racking up these losses.
Yeah. Non-stop, isn't it?
It's dire. West Ham 1, Man City 1. West Ham have done it again. They've took points off one of the big boys.
Yeah. It doesn't bode well for next week, does it? Because we're playing Liverpool. But yeah, again, fantastic display from West Ham. I watched it earlier. Fantastic overhead kick from Antonio as well. The way he caught it was brilliant. I think the overall play was good. So, but yeah. But again, Man City struggled in that game. They really did. They just didn't have a flow. I think 1-1 was a fair result, to be fair.
I think so. And then I guess now it can be considered a shock, considering Villa were the only team of a perfect record.
Yeah.
Played 4, won 4. No more.
No more.
The O has gone.
The old Mr. Bamford gets the hat-trick. Again, I mean, a great performance by Leeds. They're just fantastic. They're shock, aren't they, Leeds, this season? They've got something about them, bit of spunk in them. All goals were good. I think the first one tap in, of course. Second one was a great goal. Third one, did you see the way he had 4 Villa players around him and he still had a chance to turn on his other side to still score? I was like, where was this defence when we were playing them? But, fantastic performance by Leeds, yeah.
Yeah. And we should say about the Leeds performance there, because obviously Bamford's getting all the plaudits, but the whole team performance was brilliant. And that third goal in particular, hell of a finish, like you say, 4 defenders around him. But that move started from the Leeds keeper.
Yeah, that's right.
And 7 different Leeds players touched the ball leading up to Bamford. taking the shot. It's great play.
Oh, it is. And what a turnaround for Leeds as a club as well, because obviously they've been out of the league for so long. But the fact that they're like everyone's kind of second team, they're looking at over the shoulder and to see how Leeds are getting on. It's lovely to see, because obviously they have reputations in the 70s and 80s, of course, and now thankfully that's all gone and it's all about their new team. So yeah, fair play. Well deserved at Villa Park.
Indeed. Well, let's take a look at how those results have affected the league, shall we?
Indeed. Let's, without further ado. Well, there you go. So Everton obviously remain top on goal difference after that loss to Southampton. Liverpool into second. Well, they were staying second anyway, because obviously Villa have dropped points down to that extra point. Leicester now bumped up to fourth after that result, of course. 1-0 at Arsenal, which bit of a shock. And then Tottenham make up the top five with that win tonight. Just a quick look at Leeds and Southampton.
6th and 7th. Unbelievable.
Excellent. Really, isn't it? Really, that.
Tell you what's surprising me is there's not a single team unbeaten. Everyone's lost at least one game.
Yeah.
After only 6 is a bit of a shock, I think.
Yeah. Well, especially after last season as well, wasn't it? You know.
Exactly.
So, but I like it. As much as obviously I was happy with Liverpool's win, of course, and we continuously win, it opens it up for the neutral fan and as a football fan. So yeah, it's good for football.
And then towards the bottom, filling the relegation places still the same three, I'm afraid. Burnley, Sheffield and Fulham.
Yeah, I see
looking
no hope.
Drab.
Yeah, I see no hope, mate. Honestly, Fulham again continues to like Sheffield United. You know, just to touch on that game earlier as well. I did think it was a penalty. It was probably a free kick, but not a penalty for me. But again, VAR does what it does, or not in this case. But yeah, that Sheffield United did all that they can get. They couldn't even get it there. So those three at the bottom now. West Brom obviously just tinkering just above relegation, along with Brighton, of course. And our old friends Man United make up the bottom 6.
Yeah, they got a point, didn't they, against Chelsea in their relegation fight?
Oh joy! Yeah, they did. They struggled. So yeah, that's how the league looks.
Yeah, and then we should say Chelsea 10th, Arsenal 11th.
Yeah, the battle of the Londoners for the middle spot. It's mad, really. We've got a close friend who's a massive Arsenal fan, and he pretty much threw his hands in the air. I get my words out, hands in the air. You know, he was completely flummoxed by the whole thing, wasn't he? He was very downtrodden about that. I've never heard him that downtrodden about this before. So it's a big shock, I think, for all of the fans of Chelsea and Arsenal.
It certainly is. And let's have a look at the fixtures.
Indeed, yes. Obviously, round 7 is a Halloween weekend for many of us out there. Obviously, no more trick-or-treating so much, but let's have a look at these anyway. So, starting us off on the 30th, we've got Wolves at home to Crystal Palace. Interesting game that will be. And you've got a resurgent Wolves, hopefully, trying to get something out of that. And you've got Sheffield United home to Man City. Not looking good for them. I think Man City will have a chance here to really have a go and probably get some form up. You've got Burnley and Chelsea. Again, I think a chance for Chelsea to go ahead. If Burnley can get anything out of that game, then fair play to them. Liverpool West Ham, touched on that a few moments ago, of course. West Ham seem to be getting points from anyone they can at the moment, so we're not safe at all. Worrying times for us. Aston Villa are taking on Southampton, so Southampton broke Everton's duck. And obviously after Villa's defeat last week, let's see if that can continue. Newcastle Everton. A chance for Everton to get back on track again, especially with Newcastle being up and down in their own way. Man United Arsenal, one of those fixtures of the year every season back in the early 2000s, remember them. But this time not so much. It's the battle of the mid-tables, and maybe Man United can maybe climb up a little bit if that is the case. Tottenham Brighton. Again, another game for Tottenham to showcase the Kane and Son show, who have been absolutely fantastic so far this season. Fulham West Brom, battle of the bottomers, not really much to say on that, probably a West Brom win. And then of course, at least this one I'm looking forward to probably the most is Leeds Leicester. You got Leicester who can get something out of any game really, and Leeds who just unpredictable. So any highlights for you there, Nick?
Yeah, I agree completely. For me, Leeds Leicester is the game of that round really. I probably think it's going to be a better game than the Man U Arsenal, which a couple of years ago would have been unfathomable to say.
Yeah, unbelievable.
But, the way all those four teams are playing, that's on paper the better game.
Yeah, fantastic. Completely agree. I can't wait for that, and that's on the 2nd of November, of course. So yeah, it's over the next 4 days, starting from the 30th. I think we've got a lot to look forward to with those fixtures.
I reckon so. There should be a few good fixtures there.
Yeah.
But moving swiftly on, let's
Indeed.
check out how that's affected the Golden Boot race.
Ah.
And they've been level for a long time, but Sonny has finally taken the lead on goals scored.
Yeah, fantastic.
After Calvert-Lewin's duck at the weekend. So he's on 8. And it was another Kane-Son link-up. Yeah. So that's another closer to the record. I think they're now 7 behind Drogba and Lampard for the all-time record.
Wow, so early in the season as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like you just touched on there, Calvert-Lewin, obviously, unfortunately, never got anything from that as well. But Patrick Bamford, look at him, shot up into 3rd, just a hat trick the other day, well, the week, I suppose you'd call it, and it was, yeah, there we go, back up to 3rd place, just ahead of Salah.
And considering how many international strikers are in the Premier League, it's nice to see 4 English strikers riding high in the chart.
Yeah. That is good. It's good reading. That is obviously just to make it up. You've got obviously Vardy, who's joint 4th with Salah, of course. You've got Kane in 6th, and Wilfried Zaha 7th. But yeah, look at Kane's assist, 8 assists, probably all to Son actually because he's got 8 goals, or probably near enough. But yeah, fantastic. They're definitely the duo to watch going forward.
The dynamic duo.
But obviously your big highlight is coming up to that big man there, big Jamie Vardy, who's having a party yet again. I'll lead the way on this one. This is phenomenal.
He is, yeah. So he's done it again. He's scored past Arsenal, who are his favourite Premier League opponents. In 12 games against them, he scored 11 goals.
Yeah, amazing.
And I think I said it to you earlier. He's the man for the big occasion. He's, I think someone said he's the opposite of a flat track bully. Like, someone who only scores goals against the little teams racks up their goal tallies.
Yeah.
Not Vardy. He does it against the big boys. Which I think is a very good argument for him being one of the best strikers ever in the Premiership.
Yeah.
He's, bearing in mind he didn't start his league career until he was 25.
Yeah, wow.
Unbelievable, right?
That is.
He scored 109 Premiership goals.
Goodness me. Yeah. That says it all.
He's still going strong. He was bought for 20 million as well, by the way.
Really?
And 4 years ago, Arsenal tried to buy him.
What you did now?
Oh, God, the regret there.
Yeah.
But so just to look at results, so his favourite Premier League opponents, the most goals he scored against, are Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, West Brom, and Everton.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Well, like I say, just to touch on that, Nick, the fact he joined that at 25, he like we said a couple of weeks back, didn't we? He's the ultimate hustler, building his way up, just like how it should be, So the way he's done it has been amazing. He's, like I say, any young kid looking at this, don't ever give up. Just watch what Jamie Vardy's doing and just push for that, because look, it just shows you that those stats are clear. You don't get like that if you just sit back and think it's all over. So fair play to him. He's been phenomenal.
Where would you rank him in terms of the greatest Premiership strikers?
Ooh, well, a lot of people. I would say he's up there. Do you know what? A lot of people talk about like your Alan Shearers, Andy Coles, Michael Owens, Torres, and all that stuff. They're all fantastic strikers in their own right. Of course, they are. And they've had the goals, etc. But what is with Vardy is he doesn't shy away. He does show up, like it says there, big games, big names. He doesn't shy away from it. He turns up and he's like Arsenal who, Man City who, Liverpool who, and that's how he should always be. Yeah, he's not a world-renowned name. They don't know him all over the world, of course. But it doesn't matter to him. At the end of the day, he's there for his club. And he, I think it's amazing. Sheffield-born lad as well. So, there's always something about a Sheffield striker. They've always got something in them, a bit of guts, but he Yorkshire guts. But yeah, he's been fantastic. I think he's definitely I would say he's definitely top 10 for me. I don't know where I'd rank him in that, but he's definitely top 10.
I think I'd put him in the top 5.
Oh, wicked, okay.
I think he's really up there. You just can't argue with those stats. In fact, it's probably an idea for a future Frost Seymour top 10.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a plan, my friend. If anyone watching back there, what do you think about Vardy? Where would you rank him in your top 5, or would you rank him top 10, or rank him at all? You might think he's the best thing since sliced bread, or maybe not quite there. Maybe we're over-exaggerating. Please let us know in our comments, and we'll probably add a poll on there somewhere down the line as well. Look out for that, and let us know.
Yeah. Well, moving on, we've got one final thing to look at. I believe, Paul, you're going to talk about the recently mooted European Super League.
Indeed, yeah. So obviously this is just a clip we've pulled, which obviously just to explain really, European Super League, good or bad. It's all down to opinion, of course, but it says here, Spanish digital business website De Vol Populu wrote Tuesday morning that at least 18 European clubs were planning an NBA-style pan-European league, which would effectively replace the Champions League as early as 2022. JP Morgan Chase was in talks to provide a $6 billion in-depth finance for it. FIFA issued a statement saying it did not wish to comment or participate in the speculation about topics which come up every now and then, and said that there were structures and frameworks to deal with them on a national, European, global level. In short, for that is basically Liverpool and Man United were highlighted this week. Men is the main two, but there's been others. There was Chelsea, there was Arsenal as well in the English League, as well as Juventus, Real Madrid. They talked about it for years. It's a European Super League that they basically want to branch out, take all the big teams with them into one big European league with 20 teams, 18 to 20 teams, or whichever way, 18 in this case. And they just play against each other all the time. So Liverpool would play Milan one week, then they'd be away at Juventus the following week. Man United would play Real Madrid. So it's like a fantasy thing we'd all dreamt of as a kid, but it would be very unrealistic, of course. But now it looks as if they're actually voting to do that. Good or bad? For me, as a Liverpool fan, I think it's bad. Not so much the fact that it's great for my teams involved in the big names, of course, but at the same time, what we've also got to think about is the fact that a lot of the smaller clubs, especially during the pandemic, have struggled big time to keep up. And I think with all these billionaires just putting their monies in the hat to make this work, it's going to damage those smaller clubs. They're going to fall, probably just go into, into extinction, like burying and stuff like that. I mean, it sounds crazy, but that would affect all of them, all across the Europe. So, I think it's a very bad idea. But just touching on that information, Nick, what do you think to it all?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a bad idea. I think it would be the death of a lot of small clubs. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more on that statement. I think what's interesting there is FIFA not wishing to comment, no denial. So a bit ominous, that.
Worrying, isn't it? It's definitely worrying.
Yeah. But it's one of these rumours that's been around for years, and it kind of just comes back up again, and then nothing ever happens. But yeah, like you say, this time it does seem there's more to it than just a rumour.
Yeah, and they're starting to build a thing. One of the daftest things I've read as well is they have these teams, and no one will get relegated because there is no relegation system in this. It's just you play out. No one will get relegated for 20 years. Right, so finishing last is just as good as finishing second in this, as far as that's concerned. It doesn't make sense. I like the European Champions League knockout. I think it's well done. I prefer that as a knockout tournament. Teams face home and away and decide to equal them out their way. Teams like Leicester had the chance to get into it, stuff like that. And why should teams like Leicester, for example, just as an example, why should they be shut out? They were Premiership winners once. Why couldn't they have a shot at the title? So. But teams like that are not there because they're not billionaires and stuff like this. So I just think it's a ridiculous idea. Good for fantasy, good for maybe a FIFA game, but not in real life. I think it's mad.
What do you think, folks? European Super League, good or bad? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, please do. We want to hear every bit of comment going forward. And pretty much wraps up, doesn't it, Nick?
It does indeed. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Frost Seymour Experience.
Yeah, take care of yourself and see you soon.